The Litepanels Gemini 1x1 soft was announced back in April 2019, and at the time it was one of only a couple of options for people wanting an RGBWW panel light. However, there are now so many options on the market to choose from, which can output more light than the Gemini 1x1 soft. Today we are looking at Litepanels' response to these units. This is the Litepanels Gemini 1x1 hard. The 1x1 hard is based off of the previous 1x1 soft, but has a few key differentiating factors from it. The biggest being the addition of new TIR lenses over each LED. This has increased the output massively without affecting the power draw needed to produce this increased brightness. This is why it's called the hard, because the focus isn't on it producing soft light with a wide beam angle, but hard light with a narrower beam angle. The hard has a beam angle of just 46 degrees, which is the same as the Astra 6 times, and over half of the 1x1 soft, which has a beam angle of 95 degrees. Now this isn't unsurprising because the Astra 6 times uses the same lensing technology as the Gemini 1x1 hard. This is actually a really tight beam angle, especially when you compare it to others on the market, such as the Nova P300C from Aperture, which has a beam angle of 120 degrees. According to Litepanels, the 1x1 hard is 5 times brighter than the 1x1 soft and the Arri S30C, 3 times brighter than the Roselight Titan X1 and Aperture Nova, and 2 times brighter than the Astra 6 times. If these numbers are correct, that's pretty nuts, so let's take a quick look and see if they are. Before getting into the tests, I wanted to quickly run over the modifiers we have used in the tests, as well as some extras that are available. Out of the box, the 1x1 hard comes with 2 different modifiers, the ultralight diffusion panel and the domed diffusion panel. The 1x1 series has 4 different strengths of these diffusion panels available: heavy, medium, light and ultralight. Heavy being the most amount of diffusion and ultralight being the least amount of diffusion. Litepanels have also introduced this new dome diffuser with the 1x1 hard, and this spreads the light out massively, increasing the beam angle from 46 degrees to over 100 degrees, which is similar to the 93 degrees of the Gemini 2x1 soft or Aperture's Nova P300C. Litepanels do a range of other accessories for it as well as DOP Choice, who make a range of softboxes and grids for pretty much the entire Litepanels range. We had a few different modifiers with us for our testing. We had the included ultralight diffusion and dome diffusion, as well as the medium diffusion, which is standard with the 1x1 soft, a DOP Choice snapbag with 40-degree grid, and lastly the snap grid, which goes directly onto the panel. So let's take a look at what this fixture can do. We measured the output of the light using a range of different modifiers at both 3200 and 5600 Kelvin at 1 meter away from the wall. Without any modifiers, this light at the center of its output puts out an incredible amount of light: 27,200 lux at 3200 Kelvin and 38,800 lux at 5600 Kelvin. When you compare this to what I would consider its competition, I think it's a bit unfair, as the rest of the panels in its class provide photometrics with some kind of diffusion on. So I wanted to capture these same tests with a few different diffusion options. For this, we'll be using the provided diffusion, which is the ultralight and the dome diffuser, as well as them together. Unsurprisingly, there is a reduction in output, but thanks to how much light output we have, even with the dome diffusion, the light rivals the output possible from the Aperture Nova in the center, which is one of the punchiest panels at this price and size option. However, it seems like the Nova has a more consistent output across its beam angle versus the hard, as the dome does seem to drop off quite a bit towards the edges. This is awesome, as it means you have the option to either use the hard as a punchy hard light, or sling on some diffusion and still have enough output to light a person, background or a small room. This makes a lot of sense, as it's exactly the design ethos that Litepanels have aimed for with the hard. We wanted to visualize the beamed angle difference between the different modifiers, so you can see how much of a difference they make. I also grabbed the 1x1 soft to show the difference between the two, to show how the addition of these lenses has changed the way the light looks bare. As you can see, bare, the 1x1 hard has a narrow beam angle with pretty harsh fall off. When the ultralight diffusion is added, we can see the beam angle increase and the drop off is smoother than before. The dome takes us a step further, increasing the beam angle even more and making the light even softer. When we compare this light to the soft, you can see that without any diffusion on the front, the soft has a weird blockiness to it, which is gone when you put the included medium diffusion on the front of the light. One thing I also noticed was how much greener the soft was compared to the hard, at exactly the same camera and light settings. So let's take a look at how the hard performs when it comes to colour accuracy. For this, we used our Sekonic C800 to capture the light's photometrics at both 3200 Kelvin and 5600 Kelvin at 100%, 75%, 50%, 25% and 1%. We then tracked the CCT, green or magenta tint, as well as CRI and TLCI. We then did this with each modifier too to see if changing those shifts the colour of the light. With no modifiers at all, the CCT at both tungsten and daylight shifts a little throughout the dimming range, but not by loads. Across the range, the average CCT at 3200 Kelvin was 3166, and at 5600 Kelvin was 5726. To have this shift across the range isn't ideal, but an easy fix is to use a spectrometer like we have here to measure how much your light shifts, adjust the difference out, and then save it as a preset, which we will go into a bit later in the video. Looking at how the different modifiers change the Kelvin output shows that at tungsten, the ultralight diffusion shifts the output warmer, and the dome shifts it even warmer. When shooting daylight, this is still the case, but it actually seems to affect it worse here, with an over 600-degree difference between no modifier and the light with the dome attached. When it comes to the CRI and TLCI of this new fixture, it does a really good job at achieving upwards of 96 CRI and TLCI when using the bare fixture as well as when using modifiers. One thing we don't like when using LED panels is the shadows they create when the bare LEDs are visible to the subject. You can see here, when we use the 1x1 soft or hard without any diffusion at all, that the shadows have lines to them due to the LED array. However, adding even just the ultralight diffusion panel really improves this, but at the sacrifice of light intensity. We also wanted to show how the different modifiers look on a human subject. So for this, we boomed the light up and then lit me using a range of modifier combinations. My favourite modifier in this setup is the snap bag without the grid. The light wraps around me really nicely and shadows look great. I can see this light working really well with larger diffusion methods such as shooting through silks and a setup like a book light. Physically, the 1x1 hard is almost identical to the soft, apart from a very slight increase in weight to around 6 kilograms, which includes the power supply and the yoke, and the new black paint job. The hard's 6 kilogram weight is still incredibly light when you consider the potential output the light has comparably to its competition. The yoke can also be removed if you need it to, which will reduce the weight even further. The light also has a range of 1/4 inch threads around the edge of it, which will make mounting it in unique places nice and simple. The light comes with a single yoke attached, but light panels also make dual and quad yokes, so you can make large output arrays. These were introduced with the Gemini 1x1, but make more sense with this fixture due to the increased output. When in these configurations, you can kick out some serious light even off of battery power, which considering the output you will get is pretty impressive, and really there isn't anything else like this on the market currently. Because the 1x1 hard uses lenses in front of the LEDs to increase the power output, unsurprisingly, the 1x1 hard has the same power draw as the 1x1 soft. And this means that it has a maximum power draw of roughly 200 watts, which is really low given the output that the light has, especially considering the power draw of other panel lights with this kind of output. The light comes with a 3-pin XLR input and comes with a power supply attached, which can be removed. This means you can replace it with one of the many optional power plates if you wanted to power it via batteries. However, one limitation of this is that if you wanted to run the battery above 90% brightness, it will require two 14.4 volt batteries or a single 26 volt battery. Given how bright this light is, this isn't a deal breaker. However, if you need to squeeze as much light out of it as possible, it's nice to have the option to do so with either of these battery solutions. I ran some tests with a few different batteries to see what kind of run times you can expect at full power. We had a set of 26 volt Darnics, which at 100% brightness at 5600 Kelvin indicated that we should expect roughly 38 minutes of runtime on the battery display, but a single 98 watt hour 26 volt battery ended up lasting around 33 minutes. And this lines up with Litepanels' numbers, which you can see here. The 1x1 hard features the same menu system as the 1x1 soft, so we won't be doing a massive breakdown as we've covered this before in our Gemini 1x1 soft video here. It uses the same 3-dial system and button layout as the previous Gemini 1x1, so you can dial your light in nice and easily. As with the original 1x1 soft, the buttons here can have different presets programmed to them, And this is done really easily by just setting up the light as you want to have the preset set to, then holding down the button you want to save the preset to, and you're done. This could be a really good way to keep your most used setups just a press away. You have 5 different modes for the light, which are really what you expect from an RGBWW panel like this. CCT for basic color temp and tint adjustments, HSI for controlling hue, saturation and intensity, RGBW which allows you to control red, green, blue and white LEDs to create whatever color you want, gel mode which has around 300 gels built in for you to match a range of industry standard gels from Roscoe and Lee. You can even toggle between a tungsten or a daylight source so you can reproduce light you are used to or match it to other gelled fixtures. Lastly, you have an effects mode which features the same 11 effects built into the existing Gemini lights. These are emergency, fire, fireworks, hue burst, lightning, paparazzi, party lights, pulsing, squares, strobe and TV. As with the original Gemini, the 1x1 hard can be controlled in a range of ways. This can be done from the back of the light like we looked at earlier, via Bluetooth using Litepanels' app, DMX, RDM, Apollo CRMX and wireless DMX. If you want us to do a full video looking into DMX systems, let us know down below. As we mentioned a second ago, the Gemini series can be controlled via Bluetooth with this little dongle, which unfortunately is an optional extra. I do wish that Bluetooth was built into the fixture considering its price point. The dongle just fits into the fixture here and you can then hold the button down for 3 seconds to enter pairing mode and then pair the light with your iOS device. It needs to be iOS because the Smart Light Detector app is currently not available on Android, which again is a bit of a shame. Once connected, you can control the light in the ways you'd expect. However, the app does seem like it could do with some TLC because the UI is a bit clunky and the gel section was just completely broken for me. One way around using this slightly underdeveloped app is to use the new Apollo bridge from Litepanels, which will work with the Litepanels app to provide wireless DMX control. But unless you wanted to use DMX, this is a pricey way to control the lights wirelessly. Unfortunately, Aputure has really shown how fantastic controlling your fixtures with an app-based solution can be for people not wanting the added cost of a DMX system. I really hope this is something Litepanels can improve further, as the current state of their app leaves a lot to be desired. In conclusion, the Litepanels Gemini 1x1 hard is a logical next step for Litepanels to take with their Gemini series. The industry seems to be shifting back towards hard sources with modifiers because of the increased flexibility they bring. For the extra price over the Gemini 1x1 soft, the hard gives you a more flexible light that can still provide light as soft as the soft with the correct modifier. Considering you are getting the dome with the hard too, I think it's a no-brainer to pick this up over the soft, and currently the hard sits as a pretty unique fixture. Let us know what you think of the Gemini 1x1 hard down in the comments below, and to stay up to date with our upcoming content, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and thank you so much for watching.